So a little bit ago, I was showing off my chisel box that I'd made, and I low-key dropped this on you, which is a cover to my chisel that I had made myself using a technique that I picked up from Lemongrasspicker. And I thought, you know, something that's been needing a cover? These gouges. These gouges came with a terrible cover because they are just low-grade pieces of steel that were crudely shaped that you get at Harbor Freight for next to nothing. So I thought I might use the same technique to make some actual covers for these, and not a bad attempt at fitting a chisel cover onto a gouge, which is just... yeah. I got my scrap piece here, and now I have to do some quick and dirty measurements. This guy is just under 1 inch wide, so I'm going to go with 1.5 inches, that way there's a quarter on each side. And as for the depth, let's say that looks good, and I'll give myself to about there. Yeah, a little more. We'll give it to here. I should probably let you know, I'm told that the #1 cause of injury for woodworkers is taking these covers on and off. And it hasn't happened to me yet, and it's been like 2 years, but it should be a top comment that I have pinned if it ever does happen to me. I guess maybe I'm just more careful when I'm taking these off, or I get my hands out of the way, or maybe it's something about the way that I'm holding it. I have no idea. But, well, I'll let you know if that ever changes. There we go. Best of ones. So I got our block cut out, and I'm going to use my hatchet here as a receiving maul. It's going to take a blow as close to the center as I can get it, eyeballing it, from my mallet here, which you're not supposed to do with hard things, but the mallet is soft. This should work. Last time I used a chisel. There it goes. Okay, so what we've got here is 2 pieces that exactly match each other. You can line it up, and it's not going to be perfect right there, but everywhere else you can't see the split. Look at that. But right here you can. Okay, and it's this grain pattern exactly matching back together property that we're going to use later. This side's thicker, so that's going to take the curve. Alright, so that side's going to be down, and this side's going to be up. Man, you don't want to know what I had to go through to get this shot. Okay, hopefully I don't bump the camera. So that's about center right there. And now we just take off little shavings here until we have a groove that's the full depth, or close to it. I'm going to come back in a bit because the camera is directly in the way of the gouge. Okay. That ought to do it. Let's see how well those 2 fit together. There we go. And I made sure that the curve was wide enough so that I could get it all the way in. I am going to have to worry about these high spots here, but I have a solution for that, I think. That might be worth trying. Okay, so that's... Train still hasn't gone. It's been like 20 minutes. I actually just cut and waited for a little bit. Oh, still there. Alright, so we'll call that the corner. And that the corner. And it goes in to about here. I also want to make sure that transfers to the corner so I can see it from the top. And I'm just going to make a little recess here to start me off as a guide. There we go. It doesn't have to go down that far, it just has to clear the top of the corner. There we go. You see how it comes up a bit. And then I just carry these lines on down to about here. This should be easier to pull off. Not the worst. Not the best, not the worst. Jeez, I can never get rid of that train. Let's see if the bevel... Nah, too dangerous, might hit the camera. You should see the camera. You're in a very precarious spot. Alright, now this is just going to be me going back and forth, assembling these for a split second, and then testing it. That doesn't look like it's enough. I'm going back and forth this way until I get it actually correct. There we go. Now hopefully this will do it. That was like my third try. Okay, so we've got that there. And yes, it goes in all the way. It's not perfect, but it works. Looking at it, yeah. Okay. I think I might slit that shelf right there and bring it in a little bit. What's probably going to happen is that the hard corners here are going to dig into the sheath itself. But I'm okay with that. Alright, so now the really interesting part is the next part. We're going to use Superglue Cyanoacrylate. We only get one try at this, so it had better be good, but you get it on the parts that were not cut. Like that. And then get them together. Alright, and then it's going to take a little longer to cure because it's on the inside of a joint, but that should be sufficient for my cover. Yeah. The last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the top there with the curve here, and that'll serve a second function. Hold on a sec. So that curve right there will also be a guide for while I'm sharpening this in case I take it down too far on one side. It should always fit neatly back up into itself. So that is my cover here. Thank you to Lemongrasspicker for coming up with this great idea, or, you know, presenting it, at least. Alright, now I'm going to let this sit for few hours to let that settle, but just a really quick test fit to see how well that works, and it works very well. Alright. Leave a comment or share this video if you found it to be helpful. I would really like to hear from you. This is really last second and everything, but I'm using the corner wings here to gouge just a little bit, and alright, I overshot very slightly, but I think that creates the effect that I wanted, which is a little carving smiley face. Because I like putting whimsy into my works.